In the final days of World War II, as the world stood on the edge of victory and devastation, the United States Navy was still building warships at an astonishing pace. Among them was a cruiser that would never fire a shot in the war it was designed for, yet would go on to earn a legendary place in naval history. This ship was USS Newport News, designated California 148, the last all-gun heavy cruiser ever built by the United States and the final expression of an era that was about to disappear forever. USS Newport News was laid down in 1945 as part of the Des Moines-class heavy cruisers, a class designed to deliver unmatched firepower, speed, and endurance. Unlike earlier cruisers, she was equipped with advanced automatic 8-inch guns capable of firing faster and more accurately than anything that had come before. These guns represented the peak of traditional naval artillery, refined through decades of combat experience. By the time Newport News was launched in 1947, however, the world had changed. Atomic weapons, jet aircraft, and guided missiles were already redefining warfare. Commissioned in 1949, USS Newport News entered service during a period of uncertainty and transition. While battleships and cruisers had once dominated the seas, their future was now in question. Aircraft carriers were rising as the new centerpiece of naval power, and missiles promised to strike targets far beyond the horizon. Yet despite these changes, Newport News remained a formidable warship. Her sleek design, powerful engines, and devastating gun batteries made her one of the most capable surface combatants ever built. Life aboard USS Newport News was intense and demanding. The ship required a large crew to operate her guns, engines, radar systems, and countless mechanical components. Drills were constant, and precision was everything. The automatic loading systems of her 8-inch guns allowed for a rate of fire unmatched by previous cruisers, turning the ship into a floating artillery platform capable of delivering sustained bombardment. Every sailor aboard understood that they were serving on a ship that represented the pinnacle of gun-based naval warfare. As the Cold War deepened, USS Newport News became an important tool of American diplomacy and deterrence. She sailed across the Atlantic and Mediterranean, showing the flag and reassuring allies during times of crisis. Her presence alone was often enough to influence events, a visible reminder of U.S. naval strength. In an era when confrontation with the Soviet Union could erupt at any moment, ships like Newport News played a crucial role in maintaining balance and preventing escalation. One of her most significant moments came during the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. As the world held its breath, USS Newport News was deployed as part of the naval forces enforcing the blockade around Cuba. Tensions were extraordinarily high, and the possibility of nuclear war was real. During this crisis, Newport News served as a flagship, coordinating operations and standing ready for combat. Though no shots were fired, her role in maintaining pressure and control was vital, proving that naval power could be decisive even without direct combat. Despite the rise of missiles, USS Newport News continued to demonstrate the value of heavy naval guns. This became especially clear during the Vietnam War. Deployed to Southeast Asia, she provided extensive naval gunfire support along the Vietnamese coastline. Her powerful 8-inch guns delivered precise and sustained fire against enemy positions, supply routes, and fortified areas. For troops on the ground, the thunder of Newport News's guns was both a reassurance and a lifesaver. Vietnam placed enormous strain on the ship and her crew. Extended deployments, harsh weather, and constant combat operations pushed the cruiser to her limits. The automatic gun systems, while revolutionary, required meticulous maintenance under combat conditions. Accidents and mechanical failures were always a risk, and the crew worked tirelessly to keep the ship operational. Their dedication ensured that Newport News remained one of the most effective fire support ships in the theater. During her Vietnam service, USS Newport News fired hundreds of thousands of rounds, earning a reputation for accuracy and reliability. Enemy forces quickly learned to fear her presence, as her guns could strike targets far inland with devastating effect. Unlike air strikes, which depended on weather and aircraft availability, Newport News could deliver fire support day and night, regardless of conditions. This made her an invaluable asset in a war defined by difficult terrain and elusive enemy forces. Yet even as she proved her worth in combat, it was becoming clear that ships like USS Newport News were nearing the end of their era. Guided missiles offered longer range, greater precision, and reduced manpower requirements. New warships were being designed around missile systems rather than large-caliber guns. The maintenance demands of a ship as complex as Newport News were immense, and the Navy began to question whether such vessels were sustainable in the long term. In the late 1960s, USS Newport News continued to serve as a flagship and command vessel, her size and advanced communication systems making her well-suited for leadership roles. However, her unique design also made her expensive to operate. Spare parts were difficult to source, and her automatic gun systems were unlike anything else in the fleet. As budgets tightened and priorities shifted, the fate of the last all-gun cruiser was sealed. USS Newport News was decommissioned in 1975, marking the end of an extraordinary chapter in naval history. With her retirement, the age of heavy gun cruisers officially came to a close. No other ship would ever be built like her again. She stood as the final evolution of a concept that had dominated naval warfare for nearly a century. Unlike some historic warships, USS Newport News was not preserved as a museum. She was eventually scrapped, her steel recycled, her guns dismantled. Yet her legacy lives on in the memories of those who served aboard her and in the lessons she taught the Navy. She proved that traditional firepower still had a place in modern warfare, even as technology raced ahead. USS Newport News remains a symbol of transition, a ship caught between two worlds. She was born from the lessons of World War II and served through the Cold War in Vietnam, bridging the gap between old and new forms of warfare. Her story is not just about guns and steel, but about adaptation, perseverance, and the relentless pace of change. As the last all-gun heavy cruiser, USS Newport News represents the end of an era defined by thunderous broadsides and visible power. Today's warships may rely on missiles, sensors, and digital systems, but they owe much to ships like Newport News, which carried naval warfare to its ultimate expression before passing the torch to the future. Her story reminds us that history is shaped not only by what comes next, but by what came before. USS Newport News may no longer sail the seas, but her impact on naval history remains as powerful as the guns she once carried.